It's far the autumn of 2003 in New York while we meet our leading lady Catherine Chandler. Catherine is going to regulation school and is a part-time bartender. One night time after remaining the bar she receives in her vehicle to head domestic. Lamentably her vehicle breaks down. She calls her mom to assist. Quickly her mom arrives and begins evolved solving her vehicle. Whilst solving the automobile, two gunmen pop out of nowhere and begin capturing at them. They shoot Catherine's mum and kill her. Catherine runs away to store herself. She manages to run right into a woodland. However, the gunmen are proper after her. She falls and is satisfied that she is set to die. A gunman factors his gun at her proper while he is set to shoot her. A few form of beast comes out of the woods. The beast trips the gunman aside in a count of seconds. After that the beast turns to Catherine, whose mendacity on their floor. Catherine is scared for her existence. The beast and Catherine investigate every other's eyes. Catherine realizes that the beast is probably a person. The beast grunts and leaves. Now 9 years have handed for the reason that homicide of Catherine's mum. We researched that no person believed Catherine while she advised others that a person stored her existence in step with them. A few form of animal assault had stored her in place of turning into an attorney. Catherine is now a nip detective. One night time Catherine receives known as to a criminal offense scene on the crime scene. Her accomplice Tess advises her up to now nicer men. We additionally meet with her boss Joe. The police have determined a useless female in a motel toilet. The subsequent morning Catherine and her associates talk the viable reason of demise. It seems that they determined a few prints of the useless female belonging to a doctor named Vincent Keller. Once they test the statistics they see that Vincent Keller turned into killed in motion in Afghanistan 10 years. In the past Catherine and Tess determine to research him. In addition they visit the medical institution in which Vincent used to paintings at. The medical institution. Vincent's former co-worker informs Catherine that Vincent turned into very worrying however delinquent. We additionally research he misplaced his brothers with Inside the Towers on September 11th and finally enlisted with Inside the Army. Vincent did now no longer have many pals, however he had a roommate named JT. After that Catherine and Tess tune down JT to an deserted warehouse in which he lives. They input the warehouse and knock on the door. JT opens the door and is a pleasant searching nerd. He's a professor of biochemistry at a college. They interrogate JT, approximately Vincent, and ask him if he has heard from Vincent these days. JT jokingly says that he has now no longer heard from Vincent due to the fact he cannot listen. Useless humans whilst they maybe speak. My person is secretly searching at them. Pissed off Catherine and Tess go away due to the fact they cannot seek the warehouse without a warrant. After Tess and Catherine go away JT runs upstairs. He is going to Vincent, who looks as if an ordinary guy with a scar on his face. JT is having an apprehensive breakdown and asks Vincent why his prints have been on a lifeless female. Vincent explains that he changed into seeking to store the female via way of means of giving her CPR. Vincent suggests JT a newspaper clipping with the headline of the homicide of Catherine's mom. He has been retaining this clipping round for these kinds of years. JT is terrified that they may be going to get stuck and killed. Vincent says that he's getting bored with residing like a prisoner. After that Catherine is going down to the morgue. She meets her colleague Evan, who's a health worker. Evan informs Catherine that CPR changed into performed at the lifeless female to restore her. Evan additionally informs her that he observed move species DNA on the crime scene. Catherine is intrigued, whilst Evan tells her that this DNA fits the only observed on the crime scene of her mom's homicide. Later that day, Catherine is going lower back to the warehouse on my own. She is going to the second ground of the warehouse and reveals Vincent hiding. She pulls out her gun and asks Vincent to reveal himself. Vincent comes out and tells her that he did now no longer kill the female. He says that the female changed into killed via way of means of poison and that he attempted to store her via way of means of giving her CPR. Unexpectedly she receives a telecell smartphone name from Evan, who informs her that the motive of demise changed into poison. Catherine cuts the decision and asks Vincent how he knew approximately the poison. Vincent tells her that he may want to order it at the female. Catherine spots the newspaper clipping together along with her photo on it. She is ready to freak out out whilst Tess walks into the warehouse. Vincent asks Catherine to preserve his mystery of being alive. Catherine concurs to preserve it a mystery for now. She takes Tess and exits the warehouse. After that, she is going lower back to her workplace to resolve the homicide case. She reveals out that an assistant had poisoned the deceased due to the fact the assistant changed into having an affair with the husband of the sufferer. Catherine arrests this assistant. Then she gets a name from the FBI telling her to fulfill. Reputedly, she is requested them to affirm the move species DNA sample connected to the only observed in her mom's case. Later, she meets the officer on a subway platform. Unexpectedly, the officer, with the assist of every other man, attempts to assault and kill her. Catherine manages to take out all of the attackers besides for a female who throws her into the tracks, but the beast arrives simply in time and kills all of the marketers. It appears at Catherine for a second and runs away closer to the subway tracks. She follows the beast onto the tracks. However, unexpectedly, the teacher arrives while she is set to get hit through a teach. The beast arrives and pushes her to protection while Catherine turns across. The beast has absolutely converted into Vincent. Catherine realizes that Vincent is the beast he is. Additionally, the only who stored her 9 years in the past. Later at night time, they make their manner into the warehouse. Vincent has a tendency to Catherine's wounds. He narrates his tale of ways he have become a monster. He tells her that once the 11th of September assault, he was devastated and furious. Approximately his brother's demise, he left the health center and enlisted himself with inside the army. There he have become a part of an experimental software referred to as Murfield. Murfield injected them to show them into great infantrymen. However, their test went incorrect and Murfield found out that those great infantrymen had been not able to manipulate themselves. Murfield killed all of the great infantrymen. However, in some way Vincent controlled to get away and has been hiding in view. That he tells Catherine that he occasionally is going out at night time and attempts to assist the human beings in want. It reminds him of the time while he used to be a everyday human. He warns Catherine that she has now given the eye of Murfield. He asks Catherine to go away and in no way come lower back for her very own correct. Tomorrow Catherine is going to her workplace. There a person can pay Joe go to and takes away the bodies of Murfield's sellers that Vincent killed at the subway platform. Later that night time, Vincent and JT are gambling chess while Catherine walks into the warehouse. JT is harassed as he glaringly failed to realize that Vincent and Catherine have been interacting. She asks Vincent to pay attention to her earlier than kicking her out. She tells him that he's a hero for saving all the ones human beings and that he's a ways from being a monster. Vincent informs her that Murfield's sellers had been after her mother and he or she should not experience answerable for her demise. Catherine is taken aback to pay attention. This Catherine is using to her workplace while a bicycle owner crashes into her vehicle. She receives out of her vehicle to assist this guy as he is going near this guy. He pulls out a gun and shoots her. She manages to keep away from the bullet and escape narrowly. She kicks the gun out of the person's hand he receives up and that they begin combating with inside the alley. Ultimately the person overcomes Catherine and with the stripe of his bag attempts to strangle her. She is combating for her existence while all at once Vincent arrives and throws the person in a vehicle. As Vincent is set to tear the man apart, Catherine receives up and tells Vincent that she is right here. Hearing this, Vincent leaves. She is going to test on the person while every other character from upstairs asks her if he ought to name their police officers. She tells this character that she is the cop. The following morning, Catherine meets Evan with inside the morgue wherein her attacker from closing nighttime is mendacity lifeless. Evan tells her that the motive of loss of life changed into blunt pressure trauma on his head. Catherine says that she driven him away and he hit his head on a vehicle. Evan is dubious that Catherine killed this guy due to the fact she isn't always that sturdy. She convinces Evan that she is the only who killed him. Even as they speak, Joe enters the room. He asks Evan approximately the lifeless guy. Evans tells Joe that it's far a case of simply self-protection. Catherine is relieved to pay attention. Evans say this. The Murfield retailers meet in a darkish alley at night time. We see a person pronouncing to some other agent that he went to the morgue And the samples have been there as anticipated. He says that it's far now showed that Vincent Keller is alive. The opposite agent says that Catherine goes to deliver Vincent to them and it's time to behave. Them field retailers try and kidnap Catherine from the center of the road. She attempts her great to combat them. Finally the retailers manipulate to get a maintain of her and get her of their vehicle. In the following scene we see her tied as much as a chair in a deserted constructing. An agent from Murfield comes as much as her and asks for Vincent's vicinity. Catherine denies having information of any Vincent. The agent tells her that she is trying to defend a monster. Catherine says to him that they're human beings. Dispatched Vincent off to conflict to be a killing gadget. However 10 years have surpassed and Vincent isn't always the identical guy anymore. She tells him that Murfield retailers killed her mom. There agent sits down and indicates her a photograph of an Afghan village. He tells her that Vincent has massacred the complete village. He informs her that Vincent isn't always a few form of defensive beast, however something very deadly. He desires to take Vincent away to an area wherein he might not be a chance to absolutely everyone. He says that they'll try and discover a remedy for Vincent. He indicates Catherine a photograph of her mom with the Murfield scientists he gives to provide the reality in the back of her mom's loss of life. In Go Back for Vincent he offers Catherine his card and 3 days time to touch him earlier than they use different processes to deliver Vincent out with. Inside the subsequent scene Catherine is going to her domestic wherein Vincent is already awaiting her with inside the window. She tells Vincent that Murfield abducted her and they realize that he's alive. They desired his vicinity. However, she did now no longer inform them. She says that it's far her fault that she did now no longer live far from him. She tells Vincent that the great manner to defend her is for him to live away. Later with inside the warehouse Vincent takes out his blood samples in various tubes and places them in an ice bucket. He departs with the aid of leaving in the back of observe that asserts evidence I existed. Take again your lives goodbye. Later while JT arrives on the warehouse, he reveals that Vincent together with all his assets is long gone. He figures that Murfield were given to him and took him away. Seeing this JT calls Catherine in charge. Her however abruptly spots Vincent's observe. He tells Catherine that Vincent goes to show himself to Murfield. With inside the subsequent scene we see Vincent calling the Murfield agent the use of the cardboard they gave to Catherine in advance. He tells the man or woman at the telephone smartphone that he is aware of they may be searching out him and he is prepared to return back again. In the meantime Catherine arrives on the warehouse to fulfill JT. She sees Vincent's blood samples. JT tells her that it is their coverage plan in case something occurs to them. He's purported to ship this out in order that the entire global can understand approximately Murfield. Catherine plans to tune a Murfield agent the use of his prints in her automobile. The agent drove Catherine's automobile while she turned into abducted via prints. They are able to tune his telephone smartphone and locate Vincent because of a loss of higher alternatives. JT is of the same opinion. Together along with her quickly the Murfield sellers arrive on the vicinity that Vincent gave them. Then they name Vincent. Vincent is of the same opinion to show himself to them at the circumstance that Catherine will now no longer be touched once more. He additionally tells them approximately his coverage plan. The Murfield agent says that his superiors do not know something approximately Catherine, so they may now no longer damage her. Listening to this Vincent comes out to them on the warehouse. Catherine and JT are looking to tune the vicinity of the Murfield agent's telephone smartphone. They in the end locate out his vicinity and typhoon out. Quickly they come on the vicinity in which they see Vincent and the agents. Vincent has been handcuffed in chains and tells her to move away. Catherine refuses and begins evolved capturing on the sellers. The shootout kills all of them. Field sellers. Vincent advises Catherine to move away and that he's going to get rid of the bodies. JT frees Vincent's arms from the chain and Catherine leaves. Catherine and Vincent determine to have an intimate dinner at her condo. He's on foot to shop for Flora for her while abruptly his head begins evolved hurting and he stops with inside the subsequent scene We see him waking up at the pinnacle of a bridge. He does now no longer appear to understand how and why he were given up there. After some days we see Vincent waking up at night time in an alley. His arms and blouse are included in blood. He appears scared as though he has done something horrible. The following morning JT is tracking Vincent's frontal cortex's pastime on the laptop. Vincent tells him that he blacks out and does now no longer take into account something he does. Vincent advises JT that he must in all likelihood live far from him. JT suggests Vincent his backup plan, a tranquilizer gun, so as to knock Vincent out for some time. Vincent is likewise worried approximately Catherine's protection and figures that he must warn her. JT says that Catherine will flip Vincent to their police after mastering that he's a chance to all people. At the same time as they're speaking, Vincent begins evolved to blackout once more. As he blacks out, the beast comes out. The beast tosses JT throughout the room to the wall. The beast comes closer to JT, however JT pulls out the tranquilizer and shoots on the beast's leg. The beast became knocked out at the ground. All of sudden Catherine knocks on the door. JT opens the door and nervously tells her that Vincent isn't always right here. She asks JT to inform Vincent that she goes to Northam for an afternoon together along with her companion. JT asks her why she goes to Northam. Catherine tells him approximately the grotesque homicide of a fraternity boy that occurred at university. Remaining night time, JT realizes that Vincent might be the reason of this homicide. After that, Catherine leaves his door. After some time, Vincent wakes up. JT is status beside him with his tranquilizer gun pointed closer to Vincent. Vincent does now no longer appear to take into account the aspect he did. JT informs Vincent that his frontal lobe became repressed while he became in a trance, because of which he became not able to manipulate his emotions. JT additionally informs him that Catherine is investigating the homicide of a frat boy that occurred. Remaining nighttime, the frat boy died because of multiple claw-like wounds and probably on the identical time while Vincent became blacked out on the workplace. Catherine and Tess interrogate a former member of the frat institution. He tells them that Derek, the fellow who died, became a sadist and preferred to bully different contributors of the institution. He tells them approximately Will and Bell Tower wherein that they'd amusing all of the time. Tess says that on the night time of the homicide, Derek were given a name from a person asking him to satisfy him on the tower. They determine to head there and inspect with inside. The subsequent scene, Tess and Catherine are with inside the tower. There they discover footwear and a balloon. Additionally, they see blood at the floor. Tess is going out to tell the station approximately this. All of a sudden Vincent comes out and tells Catherine that the killer she is after is probably him. Catherine is bowled over to pay attention. This later with inside the warehouse we see JT studying the blood pattern located from the tower. He's checking if it fits the blood that Vincent had on him. Remaining nighttime, Catherine and Vincent also are there. Vincent says sorry to Catherine for his problems. Catherine tells him that he did not kill Derek because even if he was not himself, he always did the right thing. She told him accepting him. He suddenly came back to tell them that Vincent was not a murderer because of blood. The samples do not correspond to Vincent, saying that now they must understand that he has blood in his hand as found all kinds. In the case of Dirk's body, he felt an injury that looked like a check. This test previously on CAD/CAF was found in the middle of the university. He thought the corpse was the test for the real murder. He also concluded that the murderer must be a student and decided to check the crime scene. He said all of this with his new trainee Peter Hollingsworth. When Evan was in the scene of the case, he called the video Catherine when they were in the middle of the conversation. Evan was beaten and abducted. Catherine Station and his colleagues discovered that Peter's trainees could be the killer. They thought practice on corpses and practice in their office so he can follow him to kidnap Evan because he was too much closer. Catherine and Tess went to the Peter dormitory and found a series of newspaper cuts from different murders under his mattress. They realized that Peter has recreated famous murder scenes. Now try to understand the scene of the case that Peter will try to regenerate to kill Evan. Catherine to see a cut in. Murfield agents were killed on the subway track. She decided that it was the person Peter would try to recreate. Vincent and JT Warehouse tried to discover who did who on. Vincent suddenly came and asked Vincent helps to follow Evan in underground tunnels. She said that the killer recreated the murder and he would do that. Then recreated the murder on a subway platform, JT against their ideas by walking alone. They always decided to go and JT gave Catherine a calm pistol as a way to prevent Vincent and Catherine going down in the tunnels. They started to remember the last time they were there. Catherine said she saved her life. He said he would start over but also mentioned that taking a life is never easy for him. Vince felt the failure of power and he asked Catherine to calm down him but she refused to shoot him. Then was the animal arranging and watching Evan, who is associated with a post on the other side of the tunnel that Peter stood near Evan the Beast. Evan heard all the attacks and fear of his life after killing Peter the Beast. Slowly approach Evan Catherine just timely and pull her weapon into the air, which caused the Beast to flee after. The Beast disappeared in the tunnels that had attracted Evan. The next day, Catherine returned to work and visited Evan, having trouble after performing a face with a mass murderer. Evan was now convinced that he was saved by someone. The person who is not entirely. The day later, Catherine went to the warehouse to answer the door and asked her why she did not use a calm pistol. That she explained that it was her only way to watch and save Evan. JT towards a metal door and open him to reveal a cage with Vincent inside. Catherine to see him and be devastated. To JT to him that Vincent he himself put it there. He also informed him that they understood what was triggered and Vincent tell kinda that it was Vincent and I found a way to cause her problem. Endorphin in one of his panis incidents. Vincent began to have a recall of his past in the recall. Kinda's mother, Vanessa Chandler, Afghanistan, then injected the drug. Then Catherine will come today. At the warehouse, Vincent informed him that his mother in Afghanistan and perhaps part of Murfield. Later to see the look on her face, JT asked her if she knew about this. Catherine telling them about Murfield's representative. He kidnapped it and saw her mother's photo with other Murfield scientists. They were not happy to know that she was keep them a secret, but Catherine said she did not inform them because she didn't believe it becoming true. After Vincent locked himself in a cage and JT started to inject it to cause other electrical problems, it was because they want to know more about the past of her and the mother of Kinda. JT injected Vincent, who made him relax in one. Vincent flashback leads to his members in Peloton. They talk about how soldiers injected from Unity began to show increased strength after Lafferty told him that he was not too bad. She had launched herself. Another reminiscent that he trained when Vanessa approached him. He told him that he was ready for duty. Vanessa explains the reasons why she entered the project. She said she wanted to turn the world into a better place to protect her daughter and save life. Later Vanessa explained that the current failures are basically a side effect and DNA of everyone reacts different from these injections. After Vincent's power failure, he woke up and told Catherine that she was not the cause of the current failures. Treat his mother are not just a normal doctor, but he tells him that his mother is trying to find a remedy for the side effects of super soldiers. He said his mother had a notebook that she always keep her in. The next scene, Catherine came to see her father to search for her mother's old notes. She would go through the boxes of her mother and JT participated with her by calling the video. They found the notebook that Vincent recalled the reminiscent of her showing JT the notebook through her mobile camera. JT manages to find formulas to heal side effects, but he said he needed the device to recreate these formulas. He told Catherine that they could get this. The equipment of a laboratory of the Catherine Legal Police Department plans to use the Evans laboratory equipment. After that, JT is very scared. Evan Catherine's invasive laboratory told her to go through Morg's back door and prepare Serum in one. A few hours after Catherine entered her office, Tess felt uncomfortable when she left her alone. Catherine came to Evan's office and asked her to join her in a raid in an apartment of a manager. He agreed and left immediately after JT. In the middle of Evan's office, he started using the device to ensure that the JT antidote ended his detoxification bottles. When Tess entered the lucky person, JT hid his belongings and put a cloak in the laboratory. Tess noticed but JT came out. JT returns to the successful warehouse to check the serum on the mouse. Then unfortunately Vincent is in a stupid mode, and his memories about memory that Vincent recalls the day when super soldiers, having become uncontrollable and Field decided to kill them, he saw Catherine's mother, who debated with a general. The general told him that the monsters she created were out of control and would have to be killed, but she was against the massacre of these soldiers and want to have more time to understand the healing, which also decided to kill her in general the moment Vincent first turned into an animal and attacked the general. The general cut Vincent's face with one. The knife creates a scar we know today in the current Catherine and tries to soothe the beast. Management to get Catherine outing feels relieved when Vincent and JT are fine. Suddenly, Vincent injection the untested serum in her arms in the hope that it would cure or kill him. She ran to prevent Vincent Inject. However, she could not stop Vincent, and the only thing to do now was to wait for Serum to react at night. When Evan left his office, Tess met him. She asked him questions about the new trainee that she saw today. When Evan with Catherine, Evan seemed confused. She asked her whether she was good with agreement and left later. The night kinda went to her mother's grave. Catherine forgive her mother what she did and chose to believe that she has good intentions, but she always feels responsible and wants to fix the confusion that she has left, and did that. On the right, Vincent is also there to listen to all of this behind a Catherine tree coming to him. Vincent guaranteed them that they will do that. Doing well, he informed him that the serum was working because it had no problem of power outage, but yes, always an animal in him. Tess working in his office when Evan approached her, he asked Tess as a trainee by looking at the images of this day. Evans told him that this posture has used his DNA. The Evan analyst said he was implementing a secret project of genetic changes and this person could be there stealing his project. After Tess agreed to consider the following images, Tess determined that person and for picture for Evan the next day. Evan will meet JT in his office on the campus. Evan asks him questions about an article that JT has published on DNA of cross species 8 years ago. He told JT that he had evidence that a cross-life existed for something revolutionary and need an Evan biochemical expert, asking JT to join him in his research survey and the popularity they will have after publishing their article. JT accepted that Evan and JT tried to suit the DNA found on 1-1. The new biker was murdered into the DNA of the laboratory species. They analyzed it and corresponded to the DNA of cross species. Evan is very happy that he can report to his boss Joe and chase this JT creature, worried because he thinks of them. I will try to find a remedy for this organism. Evans told him that they will find a remedy, but only after they do that. Suddenly catching her, his blood samples were broken so that Evan could not follow JT creatures to be relieved when he saw it. This at the end of the day, a woman met a man and in a restaurant. She told this man that Evan was on Vincent, but she damaged her samples at the right time. The woman assured to the man that they would come to Vincent in front of the police and retain them. Field venture. In the meantime, JT realizes that a person from Field has bugged Evans's lab and has been sabotaging his studies. He brings Evan out of his lab, imparting to shop for him a soda. Evan asks JT what is the problem on account that JT appears involved. JT tells him that there's a mystery organization that has spent billions on developing genetic guns. Perhaps they're those who are sabotaging Evan's paintings to cover their tracks. JT informs him that there's extra at stack than a small supply that Evan is hoping to get from his paintings. Evan asks JT how he is aware of all this. JT says that he simply is aware of and tells Evan to forestall looking for his creature. Evan accuses JT that he is probably the only sabotaging his paintings, after which leaves to retain his studies. Later we see their Murfield woman secretly taking snapshots of Evans's paintings in his lab. However, she receives stuck via way of means of Evan, who grabs her from in the back of Evan, asks her who dispatched her and why she's right here. The woman's solutions that she turned into dispatched via way of means of the organization that created the past species creature that he's after. She tells him that it turned into a mistake and the creature is vicious. They're seeking to hunt it earlier than it kills any extra harmless human beings. She asks Evan to enroll in them of their hunt for this creature. Evan is of the same opinion to enroll in them. Sign is going to her condominium and sees Vincent already ready there for her. She tells Vincent that they must take matters slowly, and clearly Vincent asks her what she simply needs. Vincent slowly movements toward her. He leans in to kiss her, however they're interrupted via way of means of Catherine's sister Heather, who has seen the whole thing. Catherine and Vincent stroll out at the rooftop. She tells Vincent that she does now no longer need to position her sister in any form of hassle via way of means of telling her approximately him. Vincent calms her down. He advises Catherine to inform her sister that he's not anything extra than only a random man from a bar. Vincent says that Heather has no concept who he is and that she does now no longer realize something approximately his beyond existence. Vincent jumps off the roof and leaves after that. Catherine is going inside the condominium wherein Heather is eagerly anticipating her. Catherine tells her that it turned into only a random man she met in a bar. Heather isn't satisfied and asks to satisfy him. Heather convinces Catherine to ask Vincent over for dinner later. They have got dinner, and Heather additionally has invited her boyfriend Darius. Darius is the brother of Catherine's boss Joe. There, dinner is going properly. The subsequent night time, Catherine and Heather are in a membership with their boyfriends. Quickly Catherine leaves the membership. Later a few thugs pull Darius far from the group and take him outdoor of the membership. Seemingly Darius owes cash to those thugs. They factor a gun at him and call for their cash. Heather additionally comes out seeking out Darius. She sees the gun and threatens thugs that she can be able to inform this to her cop sister. The thugs knock her out and plan to kill her through asking Darius to tug the cause. Darius takes the gun and is set to tug the cause while the beast arrives and saves Heather. The beast sends Darius flying towards the dumpster. Then the beast kills multiple the thugs, however fails to kill the one-third after killing them. Vincent assessments on Heather after verifying that Heather is breathing. Vincent actions directly to Darius, who has died. Later that night time, Catherine is going to her condominium and unearths Vincent there. Searching depressing, he tells Catherine that he has killed Darius. He says that Darius became going to shoot Heather. He threw him away and by accident killed him. She asks if Heather is all proper. Vincent assures her that Heather is fine. Abruptly she receives a name from Heather and leaves to look her. Catherine is going to Heather and comforts her. Evan and Tess additionally arrive on the scene and find out the claw marks on Darius's frame. Joe breaks down through searching at his brother, Darius. Catherine additionally cries now no longer only for Heather, however for herself and Vincent. The following day on the workplace, Evan calls Catherine and tells her that it became the paintings of the move species creature. Evan is satisfied that the creature is come what may related to Catherine and that it smiles circling her like a predator to its prey. He tells Catherine that he's scared for her. Catherine tells him now no longer to fear approximately her and leaves. We see Evan delivering his studies to them field retailers in a closed room. The agent seems that Evan's reviews. The agent asks Evan to record to them if he unearths whatever new and tells him to go away. Evan is disillusioned due to the fact he desires to be a part of and feature a function in field. The agent tells Evan that he isn't always Muirfield cloth. Evan receives irritated and shoves the agent towards a wall. Every other agent status with inside the room factors a gun at Evan's head and asks him to go away. In the meantime, Tess and Catherine are at paintings. They speak approximately their love lives, while Joe arrives and introduces his new assistant district legal professional named Gabe Lone. Joe tells them that Gabe will be right here with inside the workplace to make certain the sees of the vigilante. We additionally examine that Gabe has added multiple law enforcement officials named Garnett and Null to assist him. Later Catherine arrives on the warehouse. She begins evolved through telling Vincent that she is afraid for his protection. She talks approximately the manhunt that Joe is planning through bringing in more law enforcement officials best to seize Vincent. Vincent mentions that he continually knew he might become lifeless, however idea it'd be with inside the arms of Field. He's additionally dissatisfied approximately the newspapers portray him as a chilly-blooded killer. Catherine thinks in the event that they locate the thugs who had been pressuring Darius, then they are able to show that Vincent became handiest looking to defend Heather. However, Vincent seems to handiest be concerned approximately Catherine's protection. He describes how years in the past while his adrenaline kicked in with a lady, he could not forestall Fr. Converting. Catherine asks if he killed that lady. Vincent assures her that the lady has Controlled to break out, Catherine tells him that once she is with him he controls himself higher. Vincent replies that he does now no longer experience greater out of manage than while he's together along with her. Inside the warehouse they talk that Darius had borrowed a huge amount of cash from a loan shark from the East River crime syndicate. Darius took the mortgage to begin a VIP living room that failed to make any cash. This is why the thugs had been after Darius. Catherine has data on a man referred to as Ross who can also additionally recognize humans in the syndicate. Ross is probably capable of assist them to locate the person who were given away the nighttime Darius died. However, Catherine cannot move due to the fact if Joe unearths out she's looking to show the vigilante harmless, she can be able to be in hassle. Vincent comes to a decision to head by myself and interrogate Ross inside the subsequent scene. Vincent is going to speak to Ross in a bar in which he works. Vincent poses as a veteran who desires a few brief cash to repay a few overseas mortgage sharks and that they may kill Vincent if he does now no longer pay in time. Vincent gives guns to Ross as collateral. He asks Ross for cash. Ross Speedy calls his boss at a distance. Vincent hears that the boss's call is Ray, after which leaves immediately. Quickly after, Catherine tracks down the information of this Ray and takes it to Evan. He tells Catherine that they want a few larger proof in opposition to Ray for a warrant in opposition to him. She additionally learns that Joe's police officers also are following the equal leads and they'll fabricate proof to get the warrants they want. Evan asks her how she located out approximately. She replies that it became only a stoop. While she leaves, Evan passes at the data that he can also additionally have a witness who noticed their creature up near Murfield. Agent Murfield nevertheless refuses to offer him a larger position inside the research, so Evan would not buy skip on the call. He tells the agent that he's going to deal with it himself. Later that night time, Catherine calls Vincent to her apartment. She tells Vincent that Joe's police officers are directly to Ray and they'll get to Ray earlier than Vincent. If the police officers get to Ray, he will without problems deceive them and say that he turned into an harmless bystander and noticed Vincent killed Darius in cold blood. Ray is a member of the board of a museum. This is having an open gala this night. Catherine and Vincent plan to visit this masked gala. Hoping to seize Ray at the gala, Catherine flirts with Ray and arranges for him to satisfy her on my own in and showcase. To offer her an excursion. We additionally see that Gabe and Evan have additionally became up for this occasion inside the closed showcase. Catherine holds Ray at gunpoint. Ray calls her and factors a gun at her unexpectedly. Vincent jumps on Ray and beast mode. She threatens Ray that if he desires to stay he'll visit the police and admit that he's the only who ordered Darius to kill the female, and the vigilante turned into only an everyday man who stored the female. Ray consents to do the whole thing that she asks. After that, Ray leaves and runs into Evan. Evan notices that he's shaken and desires to ask approximately the monster. However, then Gabe arrives. Ray tells Gabe that he has something vital to mention and takes him to a room and closes the door. Ray needs complete immunity to be a witness, pronouncing that the vigilante best acted to store Heather's lifestyles. However, Gabe is more interested by what the vigilante seen. Just like the subsequent day, Evan receives a name from Murfield congratulating him on doing the proper issue. Murfield thinks that Evan located the witness earlier than he should communicate to the police and killed him. Evan is stressed. He examines the newspaper to look that Ray's frame turned into located inside the basement of the museum, and Murfield thinks that he did it, and at the energy of that Evan is now in Catherine. Evan and Tess are dragged into Tess. She tells Joe that it become a fake alarm and that Garnet and Lynn no way confirmed up on the station. Joe shouts at Gabe that his guys Garnet and Nell did not again Tess up whilst she wished them. He tells Gabe that Tess almost drowned in a typhoon drain whilst Catherine arrived and stored her. Gabe apologizes and assures Joe that he's going to in no way need to see Garnet and Nell once more. Later, Gabe is going to the tunnels and unearths claw marks on a wall. He realizes that the vigilante is never Nevertheless, alive, Vincent and Catherine have a quiet second at her rental window. They begin kissing and Evan sees them whilst on foot. With the aid of using Vincent jumps from the excessive tail rental and walks away. In the meantime, Evan has visible the entirety. The subsequent morning, Evan is in a bar having a drink. The Murfield agent enters and is derived as much as him. He asks why Evan has known as him so urgently. Evan informs the agent that he has determined their creature and it smiles, hiding with inside the tunnels. The agent offers him a panic button for emergencies and leaves. Evan notices a few men stalking him. He receives up and punches a person with inside the bar and receives arrested quickly. Catherine involves. See Evan with inside the lockup. Seemingly he had known as for Catherine. Evan tells her that he is aware of approximately her monster boyfriend and that she ought to live far from him. Evan says that he handiest desires to guard her and that is why he known as her right here. After understanding that Evan has dispatched Murfield to kill Vincent, she quick runs out of doors. With inside the tunnels, Murfield marketers are looking to seek Vincent down. Vincent senses their presence. He climbs up the partitions and escapes. Later, Catherine and Vincent meet in a park. Catherine begins evolved, blaming herself for now no longer being sincere with Evan. Faster, she desires to persuade Evan that Vincent isn't always the monster that he thinks he's. Vincent tells her that sooner or later Murfield goes to prevent asking Evan properly, approximately in which he got the information, and Evan will surrender Catherine. After that, Vincent comes to a decision to have a phrase with Evan. With inside the subway, he asks Evan now no longer to name Catherine if he doesn't need Murfield to song her down. Evan brings up Vincent's murders. Evan says that he is aware of higher than Catherine approximately what is right for her. Even as at that, each Evan leads Vincent into an ambush. Vincent receives shot with drug darts from a Murfield group. JT is going to look Catherine and Tess. He stalks the news that Vincent went after Evan and that his tracker has been jammed in Murfield constructing. Evan has been with inside the waiting room for an hour. He receives board and feedback on all of the lockdown labs to trap simply one man. He manages to scouse, borrow a key card and begin snooping round interior information room. Evan reveals a closely censored document beneath Catherine's surname. It is Catherine's mother's document. He additionally reveals a letter. This is even extra traumatic to him. Outdoor them field constructing Tess, Catherine and JT plan a way to get interior. They take out the electrical fence via way of means of bringing down the local transformer and doing away with the energy. Catherine bypasses the voice popularity safety door. The use of the voice of Evans Murfield. Catherine manages to get interior, however journeys an alarm. Vincent is being stored in a cage and Murfield boss, named Agent Kyle, is going to speak to him. He describes the horrible matters they intend to do to Vincent. That is overheard and watched via way of means of Evan. Kyle leaves to test the safety breach. Agent Kyle runs into Evan wandering via the constructing. They combat and Agent Kyle asks Evan who has damaged in. Evan does now no longer say and Kyle shoots Evan with inside the belly. In the meantime, Catherine, infiltrating her manor via the constructing, reveals Vincent's cage. She releases Vincent from his cage. Even as escaping the constructing, they locate Evan and determine to hold him out. Even as escaping via an underground tunnel, they run right into a closed metallic door. Vincent attempts to interrupt it down. All of a sudden the Murfield retailers arrive and begin taking pictures at them. Evan fast runs and stands in the front of the bullets to stalk Catherine. Catherine is devastated via way of means of Evan's demise. Vincent grabs her and escapes via the metallic door. After more than 1 day, Vincent meets Catherine on a teach. Catherine says that Evan took all of the blame on him and now all and sundry considers him to be the mole with inside the business enterprise. He tells her that Evan's demise turned into now no longer her fault and that he cannot stay without her. With inside the early morning, Joe is going to Gab's domestic and rings the bell. Gabe solutions the door and inquires approximately Joe's motive to return back. Joe tells him that he desires to seize the traitor Evan and placed him through the pains. Gabe advises him that setting Evan in trials will create issues for the station. Gabe guarantees Joe that he has his very own guys after Evan and could quickly seize him on the station. Catherine is Unhappy approximately Evan's demise, she tells Tess that she went to Evan's condo and the vicinity turned into ransacked through a person she has discovered an image of her with Evan in his domestic and suggests it to Tess. Tess feels responsible for now no longer telling Joe approximately Vincent and Evan's demise. Catherine forbids her to mention something to all and sundry. All at once a person with blood throughout him enters the station inquiring for Catherine. The person drops to the ground. Catherine is going to him and asks his call. The person says that she does now no longer have a lot time, after which dies. Tess conceals a key card discovered with inside the man's garments. She offers it to Catherine to discover if he works for Murfield at night time. JT and Vincent are at an alley to analyze the person who died. In the front of Catherine, Vincent is positive that the person labored for Murfield. With inside the alley they discover any other lifeless Murfield agent, a few rats and the lifeless guy's mobile telephone smartphone. Later Catherine and Tess discern out that the person that broke into Evans's condo is Gabe. Catherine is going to Gabe's workplace to confront him. She accuses him of being a Murfield agent. In a flashback we see that Gabe spent his youth at Murfield. Catherine's mum turned into certainly considered one among Gabe's medical doctors too. They have been the usage of Gabe for harvesting blood and tissues again to the existing. Gabe tells all of this to Catherine. Gabe says that he has examined Evans's journal. After analyzing the journals, Gabe concludes that Evan and Catherine have been after the vigilante. Evan went in the back of her again and Murfield killed him. Now she desires to discover Murfield and get revenge for killing Evan. Catherine asks Gabe if he isn't with Murfield then why he desired to seize the vigilant and so badly. Gabe explains that he handiest desired to defend him and wants to search out Murfield too. Catherine continues to be suspicious and leaves the room. Later at Catherine's condo, she and Vincent watched the photos retrieved from the dead man's telephone smartphone. The person says that he turned into her mom's pupil and tells Catherine that no one knows about her. He says that Murfield is prone due to the fact they're shifting their operation, so it'd be a very good time to take them down. He begins evolved getting shot and says visits the orchard because the video ends. Catherine says that they have to comply with the lead and destroy Murfield. Vincent disagrees, announcing that the entirety is probably a lure. He additionally advises now no longer to agree with Gabe. He asks her to offer him a while to discern it out. The following morning Catherine is going to Gabe's condominium. Gabe suggests her the relaxation of Evans's journals. She opens a magazine that announces Orchard Industries with and cope with. She tells Gabe approximately the message that the useless man left for her on his telephone smartphone. Gabe gives to go together with her to the orchard, however she turns him down, announcing that she can be able to move by myself at night time. Tess and Catherine visit Orchard Industries. Tess distracts the defend at the same time as Catherine enters the constructing. She arrives at a locked room and makes use of the important thing card lifted from the useless agent. She receives in and reveals all of Murfield's servers. She attempts to get entry to the server, however it asks for a password. She has Gabe at the telephone smartphone who's remotely helping her with the break-in. Gabe indicates attempting Chimera as a password and it really works with the assist of his lady friend Tyler. Gabe instructs Catherine to download the documents to his laptop. She additionally reveals Vincent's report there, understanding that Gabe could have get entry to Vincent's report too. She attempts to prevent the download. Gabe's lady friend tells him that if the downloading is interrupted they'll lose everything. Vincent hears this due to the fact he's spying on Gabe from a close-by rooftop. He calls JT to invite him to song Catherine's telephone smartphone. Quickly Catherine turns round and reveals Vincent's status in the back of her. Vincent will become the beast and begins evolved breaking. The servers and field dealers are alerted. With the aid of using this, all of sudden a hearth place begins evolved spreading with inside the room, destroying all of the servers. The beast takes Catherine in its fingers and escapes. The following morning Catherine meets Gabe with inside the automobile outdoor the orchard constructing. He informs her that he did now no longer get whatever from the downloads. She asks approximately the Chimera password. Gabe tells her that it became the call of the unique examine. He became a part of Murfield. She tells Gabe that her mom had a Chimera necklace. In a flashback we see Catherine's mother sporting a Chimera necklace and smuggling Gabe outdoor of She treated Gabe to his new foster mother and father returned at the existing Gabe receives out of the auto and methods his lady friend Tyler's status close by. Gabe tells her that the health practitioner who stored him could have been Catherine's mom. Tyler suggests him a photo of the server wreckage, hinting that their vigilante became there too. They discern that Catherine is concerned with the vigilante. Later Catherine meets Vincent with inside the tunnels. She advises staying collectively to protect themselves and to position and give up Timfield. Vincent consents. He tells her that he has located a brand new location and takes her there. A few days later Catherine is concerned that she is probably pregnant. She takes a being pregnant take a look at, however is relieved whilst it comes out terrible. Vincent informs her he does now no longer need to have a toddler and that it is going to be too risky. Catherine assures him that she additionally does now no longer need it proper. Now Vincent tells her that they'll in no way be capable of stay a regular existence as a pair. However, Catherine is glad with the manner there. Later Catherine and Tess visit a motel in which Gabe is presently staying. They come at Gabe's suite. Gabe asks Tess to move and get him espresso. Whilst Tess leaves, Gabe shows Catherine the pictograph of the server wreckage and says he is aware of who did this. Catherine refuses to well-known something. Gabe loses his persistence and his eyes flip yellow. He is set to show into the beast. She pulls her gun on Gabe. However, Gabe controls himself and tells her that he has medicine to suppress his DNA that prevents him from becoming the beast. Regrettably, he has evolved a resistance to the medication and that is why he desires to look at Vincent's DNA consistent with Gabe. Vincent turned into Injected with the upgraded model of injections and might manipulate himself higher than others. Gabe proposes a deal: Vincent's blood in change for his drugs. After that Catherine heads out without pronouncing something. Catherine goes to Vincent and tells him approximately Gabe's provide. Vincent is satisfied that it ought to be enticed to seize him. She advises Vincent to satisfy Gabe, pronouncing that they'll be capable of stay a regular existence. It is going to be useful for everyone. Sooner or later Vincent hesitatingly consents. They visit Gabe's suite, however he isn't always there. In the meantime Gabe has arrived at Vincent's domestic. Seemingly he had placed a tracker on Catherine whilst she left the motel. He assaults JT in complete beast mode, seeking out Vincent. Fortunately Vincent and Catherine attain there in time and shoot Gabe with the tranquilizer gun. Gabe drops to the ground whilst Gabe wakes up. He tells Vincent that he's determined to locate him.